It sounds a glamorous business, but to the men of the Irish Customs Force, patrolling the border for smugglers is a daily grind, searching for hauls of smuggled liquor, hi-fi, petrol, even livestock. This is today's special patrol, scouring the southern edge of the border, hunting along the network of country roads, and combing the farmland and buildings for sign of smuggling. But despite their efforts, they know they're fighting an uphill battle. Here, smuggling has always been rife.
Smuggling's a way of life here. I would compare smuggling here to football support in Liverpool. Since the first custom man went on here, I would say the same day the first smuggler went on.
Ranger to our 7-1, can you read me over? That's okay. We're just in here now on the border point. Everything looks quiet, but there is quite an amount of fresh tracks. But the ground conditions are very, very wet.
During the war, when petrol was very scarce, bicycles, everybody used bicycles. And there's one man who's particularly known for smuggling, and he used to always come across with a big bicycle and a big bag on the back of it. And the custom men always searched them, and they could find nothing. So when the custom man retired, he approached this man one day in a bar and he said to him, "Tell me something, what were you really smuggling? Because I know you were smuggling. Every day when you went across with that bicycle and a big bag in the back, you had something, we couldn't find it. What was it?" He said, "I was smuggling bicycles." It was as simple as that.
And this is the latest smuggling commodity, petrol. The difference in price between northern petrol and southern petrol can be as much as 90 pence a gallon. Not surprisingly, this garage, which straddles the border but stands officially in Northern Ireland, is very popular among drivers travelling south. And the owners recognise the southern trade. As well as charging in British pounds, they have one pump that reads Southern Irish punts. In fact, demand is so high, they're having to buy another pump. But the forecourt of this garage across the border in the south is desperately empty. You won't catch them publicising their prices because they're not very enticing. Petrol here is about 90 pence dearer. Even the pump attendants drive across the border to the north to fill their car tanks. The price difference between north and south is even greater when it comes to having a drink. Up to £5 difference on a bottle of whiskey. This off-licence is in one of the main streets in Strabane in the north. Business has never been better. More and more customers are making a pilgrimage here from the south, and the shop's owner knows that many a pilgrim returns home with more in his car boot than the customs limit of 2 bottles per person.
There is a lot of people doing that sort of thing, all right. Personally, my own view is, why not? I don't ask questions, I just sell the stuff, and that's it.
But every bottle or case sold here spells disaster for pubs and off-licences in the south. Because of the prohibitive taxes which force up the prices of liquor, pubs are emptying. In a desperate bid for survival, ironically, many publicans find they're forced to buy liquor smuggled to them from Northern Ireland. They can't sell it any cheaper, but the profit keeps them going through the lean times.
While we don't condone the purchase of smuggled liquor by our members, we do recognise that, as I've already said, it is quite often the case of survival as against going to the war. But you can't really criticise somebody who accepts a loaf of bread when hungry, despite the fact that that loaf of bread may have been stolen. The problem is to ensure that he's not hungry. The problem in the smuggling of spirits is that the publicans, some of them, feel compelled to purchase this stuff in order to survive.
In fact, smuggling is such a thriving business round here that they've even named the local pub, which straddles the borderline, after the trade. The locals here say there are 3 types of smuggler. It starts with the ordinary shopper, who probably brings just a little more back across the border than he should. Then there's the small-time businessman, who supplements his income with the profit from cases and crates brought over. And then there's the much more sophisticated and well-organised syndicate, or family as they're known, and they pay other people to take the risks and make the runs for them. These men operate one of the 8 big syndicates which rule the 280 miles of border territory. Here in South Armagh, one of the hotbeds of IRA activity, the smugglers prepare to ferry a lorry load of liquor across the border. Their contempt of the customs patrol is matched only by their thorough organisation. Up to 3 scout cars equipped with CB radios patrol the intended route and warn the oncoming smuggler's truck of any snooping customs men.
No customs about. How's the coast road? How is it doing? What about there was 2 patrol cars out there this morning.
The syndicate always operate at night under cover of darkness, but they came out into the open to show us their system. And using empty crates and boxes, demonstrated how they can take a truckload worth about £80,000 over the border. There are many roads where any car would be stopped at a customs point, but equally there are others, well known to the smugglers, with no fixed customs check at all. Would either of you do any other job?
Not really, no.
No. We've no need to work anymore, because no need to work once this is going, because this is a handy job. It only takes a short while to do the run altogether, maybe a half an hour altogether to do the run, and it's handy, ready money, all just in cash in a very short time, you know.
And it's a lot of money. You must make a good living.
Yeah, it's a good living.
It's a living actually for us. You know.
It's just like a
it's
job.
Our daily life, same as your job. We have our living to make of it too, you know.
I don't make £25,000 in one run though.
Well,
what happens to that money? Is it sheer profit?
Oh yeah, it's tax free.
And how many people would you have to pay?
You would basically there could be 3,000 to 5,000 man expenses on.
There's about 6 people roughly, around about 6 or 8 to contend with. You know, we work in a syndicate. You know, we all share the profits.
You make it sound very easy. You must have problems with the customs and with the army.
Well, the army don't really bother. The army doesn't seem to interfere. Like what we're doing, it's not illegal in Northern Ireland, but with the customs in Southern Ireland, we've ways to get around them. Like.
What ways?
Oh well, sometimes it takes money. Like.
So you do actually bribe them sometimes?
At times, yeah. At times it has become necessary to bribe them. Like, there are some who will take money.
The customs officers and spokesmen deeply resent the suggestion that they're doing anything other than their best to control the problem. And far from profiting themselves, they often suffer as a result of their jobs. One customs man had his house windows smashed in, and another lost a leg after a violent confrontation with smugglers.
They have an appreciable problem, but they cope very well with it. They're very conscientious and hard-working men, and they do a good job.
What do you say about the allegations that some people make that your men do sometimes take bribes and let things through?
I'd be horrified if I thought there was any truth in it. In 34 years of association with customs, I have never experienced one occasion when a bribe has been accepted by a customs officer.
But the smugglers don't have it all their own way. These are just a few of the vehicles impounded by Irish Customs in the last few months at just one customs station. They range from small private cars to much bigger vans and lorries, specially equipped with secret compartments. This van for sheep or pigs was being chased along an unapproved road by the customs men. When they stopped it and demanded to look inside, they naturally thought there would be contraband in this compartment, but it was empty. Then the customs man noticed that the van seemed to be smaller on the inside than on the outside, so he took another look. Behind here, you'd think, would be the driver's cab. But it's a large secret compartment, and inside there were 68 crates of alcohol. But despite these successes and the official confidence, the men on the ground and their trade unions do not share the optimistic view that they're winning the smuggling war. The official line when you ask official customs authorities is that it's a problem, yes, smuggling, but they're completely in control. Would you agree with that?
We would totally reject that statement. They are not in control, and unless resources are put into the field and put in very fast, we will lose whatever little control we have at the moment.
The smugglers, both those we filmed and others whom we spoke to secretly, don't consider their activities a crime, or rather they see the levels of taxation in Southern Ireland a greater one. They consider themselves modern-day Robin Hoods, but instead of robbing the rich to give to the poor, they rob the state and pocket the profits.